Welcome to the fourth episode of All for the Lombardi. Today is September 27th, 2017. We're almost into the dog days of fall.
And we might say the date, it might be a bit earlier than they're expecting, and there's a reason for that, which we will get into later in the show.
Yes. So we had a very interesting week 3 in the National Football League.
It was an awesome week for football.
Oh, yes.
Awesome week for football fans. A lot of interesting games, a lot of good games with some possible controversy at the end. It's just it was a great week to be a football fan.
And it's one of those weeks where every expectation you've had about the league all through the first couple of weeks, thrown out the door now.
Yep. I absolutely agree.
And we'll start with that first expectation of that Steelers-Bears game.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, I really made a not-so-great take last week. If I remember correctly, I believe last week I said I expected nothing less than a bloodbath. And if you don't know, the Bears beat the Steelers 23-17.
In overtime.
In overtime. I'm kind of on cloud 9 right now. I know it's only one game, but I thought we weren't going to win a game until like week 8 or something along those lines. So I'm just ecstatic that we won a game, and all on the back of, in my opinion, already the leader of this team, which is Jordan Howard. 130 yards on the ground, dealing with that shoulder injury that we mentioned last week. I mean, he was just pure electric. And he came out of the game like 3 or 4 times with injuries, with the shoulder bothering him, and he just came back in. He did not want to come out, and you could tell.
Yeah, I regret now. Remember when I gave you the look last week when you said, I hope the Bears can stop that Steelers offense? I gave you that look last week, and I guess
Yeah.
I'm regretting that now.
I knew we could stop the run. I was worried about the passing game, which technically did kill us a little bit, but not as bad as I was anticipating.
So you weren't anticipating... So, I mean, you did hold Big Ben to under 300 yards, so, I mean...
Which was awesome.
And 1 touchdown.
Yes, which I love. It's great.
That's a lot better than what it could have been. 3 sacks as well.
Mm-hmm. This defense is crazy. I love this defense. Now the main thing is scoring points. Even though we put up 23 points, they were 23 rough points to put on the board. And, well, if you want me to be honest, it's because Mike Glennon can't throw a football. 101 passing yards Sunday, excuse me.
You're still on cloud 9.
Apparently,
yesterday.
I just can't remember the days anymore. That's how rocked my brain is. But 101 passing yards. Here's something. 1 catch by a receiver all game. I've never heard of a team that's won while 1 receiver makes 1 catch. But it was all, on the back of the running game. Yeah, and then when Cohen was in, he was electric. He had, 78 yards on the ground, including 36 on a huge play in overtime, in which Cohen went. He supposedly only went 38 yards, but apparently he stepped out of bounds after that, even though he didn't. But and he went all. It canceled out the play in which he went 78 yards. So, yeah, and then Howard was just pounding the whole day. That's what happens when you actually use Jordan Howard. Talking to you, Darryl Loggins.
I actually had an interesting experience with that game because it was not on locally, if you remember correctly, and the Denver Buffalo was on, and then that game folded, and then ended. Houston New England came on, and that game ended. We'll get into that game later. But then I saw the Chicago-Pittsburgh game in overtime. They came on right for that last play.
Jordan Howard out to the left goal line.
Yep, and that's the only play I got to see of that game live. But was it the best play of the game?
I don't even know. It was the winning play, and that's the one that matters. And as you might know, if you are a student here, the next day, on Monday, I rocked my Jordan Howard jersey proudly.
I can bear witness to that one.
And also, if I'd like to add one more thing, Marcus Cooper, you're off the hook for 1 week. just careful. If you didn't see, Marcus Cooper went full on Deshaun Jackson and fumbled the ball while taunting before the 1 yard line. So, but he was actually locked down in coverage. I think he was thrown to. He was targeted a good bit, and I think they only made 3 receptions off him, or a 39 quarterback rating against him, something along those lines.
Yeah, and I have one more thing to add on before we move on. Danny Trevathan with 10 sacks. Well, 10. Wow, what the?
10 sacks. Oh,
that would be the NFL record. 10 tackles.
I think we'd be hearing more about that.
Yeah, we would be. That would be the first thing we'd be leaving off with in that situation. But 10 tackles, that's pretty good. 8 on his own too. That just some good stuff from that Steelers-Bears game. And now it's time to talk my game. Chiefs, it's Chargers. How many people said that this could be a trap game for the Chiefs? This is the game you gotta watch.
Including myself. All went up to it.
Yeah, and it was kind of a game that you kind of just had to... It was a weird game. I'll say that. It was at the StubHub Center, which of course is having attendance problems right now, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. We'll kind of just tease that right now. If the Chargers keep on having attendance problems, we may be talking about that one in the future.
You never know. Just look up some of the pictures of the fans in that stadium. You will see either empty seats or a lot of red.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, that game turned into nothing happened in the third quarter of that game. Nothing. Not even on the score sheet. Nothing happened. That was a defensive slugfest / an offensive mistake. Period. Completely. And one takeaway I do have is, well, 2 takeaways I do have are rush defense. We still suck. I'm sorry I'm using that word, but we need to really work on that rush defense for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And with Houston?
The Chiefs.
Oh.
The Chiefs' rush defense.
No, Justin Houston.
Oh. You know, Houston's doing pretty good to pass, but the rush...
run.
Yeah, the run defense.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I was thinking pass rush. I apologize.
It's alright. Anyway, from there... Sorry, I'm kind of just drifting right now a little bit. From there, it was a great finish. I mean... We got a touchdown to bring us up above 14 points ahead at about 1:49 left in the game, thanks to a Kareem Hunt 69 yards down to the end zone. Anyway, your thought?
What I thought was funny was, if you remember last week, Dustin had Terrence Mitchell as his worst player in the game last week. And I guess somehow the word got back to Terrence Mitchell because he picked off Phillip Rivers 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
So,
and then he picked him off again at some other point.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Maybe I need to call out Justin Houston this week just to get him on the sacks there. Get him some more free sacks. I will say my player of the game is Kareem Hunt, of course. 69-yard rush down the end zone. At the beginning of the game, he really wasn't looking too much. He was mediocre, but towards the end of that game, he really turned the Jets on for ending with the game with 172 yards for a touchdown, and 69, of course, is his longest. And also, he picked up a pass, 11 receiving yards. That was a good first down. I do recall that play somehow. And then our defense. And I'm going to address something with the offense really fast. The defense made me think of the offense, which is a little bit weird, but nonetheless. On third down plays, third down long, we would have a penalty, or it'd even be like 3rd and 7 or something. You could guess what the Chargers... Well, this was really genius by the Chargers. I mean, I'm going to give them the credit here, but this was a genius strategy. Line up all of your defensive guys, 7 of them, way back in the backfield. Because Alex Smith kept passing short on those plays, and those 7 defensive guys, there's no way we could have gotten a 3rd down in that situation. So Alex Smith needs to work on getting it over the 3rd down line for the 1st down, not under it, and letting those Chargers guys come back there, because I can promise you that strategy was the Chargers, but now it's going to be every other team who tries to come and see the Chiefs. The Chiefs.
Hashtag bench Alex Smith.
Are we just going to have that every week now?
Every week.
Random?
Every week. Every time I hear Alex Smith, I have to say #bench Alex Smith.
So anyway, now we're moving along into Heartbreak Detroit.
Oh, one of the best games of the week ends on one of the worst notes of the week. So, if you didn't know, Atlanta and Detroit played this week, and it was a offensive slugfest. We're talking punch for punch. And it comes down to the wire, the 34-28, I believe.
Yeah.
And with about 12 seconds left, or 8 seconds, I think the official time was, they said Stafford drops back, throws to Golden Tate on a slant, and Tate drops right before the end zone. But originally they ruled it a touchdown. So people are freaking out because with 8 seconds left, the Lions are going to be up on the Falcons, and the Lions are going to win that game. Well, they decided, hey, let's do a booth review just to make sure this is correct. And comes one of the biggest. I actually felt bad for Detroit, which is unbelievable. I felt bad for Detroit for a second.
That's his division, so
exactly. That should say something. But they come back. They say his knee was down half a yard before the end zone, and because the play clock was still running, they would announce there'd be a 10-second runoff with 8 seconds left on the clock. So the game ended there.
Yeah, that's kind of it's actually a very obscure rule in the NFL because it has to be like an injury type timeout and it has to be within a 2-minute warning. So that is a very obscure rule which led to that team
taking a loss when they probably should have won, to be honest with you.
And I'll segue into something that I saw in bonus coverage after the Buffalo-Detroit game, Houston-New England. Houston was right up on New England. I mean, they could have won that game. They could have at least sent it to overtime because at the end there's about 15 seconds left. They run a play. They have about 11-ish left right there. But Dustin Hopkins, the kicker, calls for the timeout. But the refs don't recognize it for at least 10 seconds. And they don't call a timeout, and it becomes too late. The clock expires. Game's over. New England wins.
Got some refs being thrown under the bus.
Speaking of
the word bus.
Speaking of refs being thrown under the bus, I got to go back to this Chiefs game for a second because we tried passing downfield at one point. It would have been one of Alex Smith's better plays in that game, but when he passed down the field, and this stinking ref was right in the middle of the play. Like, we can call wide receivers and defensive backs in the NFL for being too close or whatever, but we can't call that ref out, and we can't throw a flag against that ref for being too dang close to the players. I mean, these guys have to pay attention. Why shouldn't you? I mean, I know we're kind of trashing the referees now, but there was some. It was a great week in the NFL. It was a great week playing-wise, but there were some big mistakes that came out of week 3 officiating-wise.
I agree. Some game-costing mistakes, possibly.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that people aren't going to forget, is that this literally cost someone a win.
Yeah, and really fast, we have our game of the week. Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee Titans, 33-27. We said that this game of the week thing was a curse. And even at the beginning of this game,
I had talked to Dustin when it hit halftime, and I said, I think we're just cursed. We're cursing our game of the weeks because going after halftime, it was a whole 9-7, and the game ended up being 33-27. The Titans won, which I was not expecting. I know it was in Tennessee, but I still had the Seahawks.
You know, it kind of shocked me when I was watching all the pregame shows, and they said Seahawks were their upsets. Like the Fox guys, they were picking Seahawks as an upset. And and I'm thinking, that's an upset? So
really?
That kind of really started to tip me off to these guys to how much people thought Tennessee was going to win.
I like Tennessee a lot, though.
I like Tennessee a lot, but I tried not to. I thought that was a tough game for me to predict.
I know, right? I don't know why. When I think of the Bears, I think of them running a really, really, really butchered version of Tennessee offense. Because, if you don't know, Tennessee runs the ball a lot. Because they have DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. So their whole game is focused on the run, like the Bears. Except Glennon ain't no Marcus Mariota. We know that. So it's just...
That is a very good point. Glennon ain't no Marcus Mariota.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Put a t-shirt on that too.
If Glennon ends up doing really well this season, we'll probably play that at the end of the season as a terrible take.
Take.
Anyway, we'll go through the rest of these games really fast. The Giants and the Eagles.
My pick for that division is now 0-3, which is brilliant. I don't know. The Giants, they can't score points. They can barely move the ball. So I went through some stats because going into the third quarter, the Giants were down a good bit. I know that. Eli ended the game with 366 yards and 266 yards, or 366 yards, excuse me, and he got 205 of them in the fourth quarter, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's just that Giants offense actually woke up at the end, which that's what I've been looking for them to do all year. And of course, the one time the Giants offense actually scores some points is when that really, really elite defense falters.
And they end up 27-24 at the end of that matchup.
Shout out to Jake Elliott?
Yes, Jake Elliott. And we'll talk about more about him in just a little while.
61-yard clincher.
Yes.
That's what you call ice in your veins.
And I'll have an extra add-on to that as we get towards the end of the show today. Jacksonville, and we'll quick hit the rest of these games for real this time. Jacksonville-Baltimore, London game. Jacksonville really swooped up the Patriots 44-7. Miami-New York Jets, the Jets won.
26. It wasn't a cheap victory either. It was legit. They dominated the whole game victory.
Can you believe it? The Jets win. That's a lot of people said they were going to go 0-16. I guess they're not now. And 0-16, I will admit, I didn't really say this that much, but I did at the beginning of the week, more towards Thursday. I looked at that game and I thought, okay, I think I'm going to predict the Jets here, but this could be the game. Maybe that is the trap game.
And it was? Mm-hmm.
The trap game for the Jets losing, that is. For all of us, the trap for all of us who are prognosticating who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oakland, Washington, the Sunday night football game, 27-10. I fell asleep during that game. I'll be straight up with you.
Washington looks like the real deal to me.
Oh, yeah.
I you know what? Because they lost Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson this off season. Yes, this off season. And I thought, Kirk Cousins, he has Jordan Reed to throw to, who's going to be putting more double coverage now, and he's just not going to be able to move the ball. And I'm wrong.
Yeah, and we had the Cincinnati Green Bay game, which went in overtime. Funny story about that really fast. Kevin Harlan, the announcer on Kansas City Chargers, we were coming towards the end of that game, and he said 60 minutes is next everywhere except the West Coast. Poor guy has to come back 2 minutes later and say, no, we're going to bonus coverage of the overtime between Cincinnati and Green Bay. I'm sure if you watched 60 Minutes or you were recording that, or
you're upset.
Yeah, I'm sure that one made you a little bit angry there, because he said that one right at 6:30 as it was supposed to start on the TV guide. Anyway, moving along, we're going to try a new little segment here called Facebook Hate Mail. This is the nutheads who decide to go post on Facebook on their team's profiles as soon as the game is over, as soon as they've lost, preferably, is what we are.
When our teams take a terrible loss, we're never in the right state of mind, so it's better for us just to be quiet most of the time.
Yeah, let somebody else do the talking and we can agree or disagree. So would you like to start us off with the Steelers, since that was your game?
I will gladly do that. And we're gonna take the names out, by the way, because we don't want to lead to any. We're just doing this for fun, nothing serious.
We're just reading some of the
Facebook comments,
funniest Facebook comments.
So this is a post from when the Steelers announced they had lost. This person said, "That was absolutely pathetic. I don't know what happened with the defense in overtime, but if that's what we have to look forward to against teams like the Bears, then we're never going anywhere." So.
And I'll just note really fast, there were some real nutheads on that one. On the Steelers one this weekend, there were some real nutheads.
Hot takes. Lava takes, magnet takes.
Yeah. So on the Bengals, they, of course, lost in overtime to the Green Bay Packers. I'll fix the headline for you. Bengals offense starts to click, but remembers they're the Bengals at the second half.
You know what? Speaking of that Packers Bengals game, I was like, you know what? This is already an amazing Sunday. And then I saw it, and I saw the Bengals were up on the Packers 21-7. I was like, this is an amazing Sunday. And then the Packers came back and won in overtime, and I went, that's still a pretty good Sunday. So
yeah,
thanks Bengals.
Thanks Bengals for remembering that they're the Bengals. The Chargers post announcing their loss to the Chiefs. Quote, I hope we go 0-16 and Dean Spanos is forced to sell the team. And I also hope all the fans boycott going to the rest of the games. Worst ownership in the NFL.
Ooh, it's a hot take. That's what you call a hot take. But
I think the fans are already boycotting in a way by not showing up to the games.
I know, right? But Dean Spanos is... I hate to throw anyone on the bus, but Dean Spanos is kind of known for being a bit money hungry. If you didn't know, he's been trying to move the Chargers out of San Diego for a long time now. And, well, I guess he's kind of getting it with the fact that no one showed up to LA games.
Yeah. Well, they're all showing up to the Rams games, if anything, over at the Memorial Coliseum.
Yeah, and there's even talks that you never know. Maybe the Chargers might even move back to San Diego. That's what the NFL front office might be talking about.
Yeah, and Dean Spanos, for the record, Dean Spanos actually cannot sell the Chargers for at least a few years. Now that he has gone through a relocation process, he cannot sell the team, which is interesting. He signed a deal with the NFL to not.
Well, I guess that makes sense, because I guess I could relocate someone to, like, I don't know.
London.
Yeah, London. And I could just sell the team, because their profit will probably be a bit higher. I could probably get more money if I just sell them immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
What happened to Dean Spanos reminds me of what happened to Stan Kroenke when the St. Louis Rams moved to LA. I'm actually saying LA before Rams now. So that's a go for me. The injury report, we do have some news about the Chiefs. Cairo Santos, our kicker, is on IR now. There was kind of a dicey play, which roughing the kicker, one of the Chargers players got charged for roughing the kicker. That seems to be what happened, but he is on IR now. That'll be 6 weeks, so he can come back in week 10, potentially. But we'll see if he's out for the rest of the season or not.
Well, isn't IR 8 weeks? Oh, it's certain. Yeah,
it's 6.
Okay.
You just add 6.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why all those guys in week 2, we were saying week 8 at that point.
I've been exposed. Okay, so I guess we're getting into injuries now. Oh yes. Yeah, real quick. Another Bears injury, what's new? Quentin Depps broke his arm. The Bears safety that we signed this offseason. So yeah, at this point, I'm just thinking at least one starter is going to hit the field at least every week.
Yeah, and we're going to run through these really fast. Green Bay linebacker Nick Perry, we talked about last week. He has returned to Packers practice after undergoing surgery on his injured hand. Kyle Murphy is on injured reserve, and now tackle Ulrich John is coming off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. Defensive tackle Mike Daniels' hip was limited on Tuesday, while safety Kentrell Bryce groin improved from limited to full, and cornerback Davon House quadriceps did not participate per the team's injury report. The Packers host the Bears on Thursday Night Football. Light the night up, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. There's a little tease for you. Left guard Alex Boone from the Arizona Cardinals suffered a pectoral strain in the loss to the Cowboys. I wonder how much that one hurts.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I can't even imagine pectoral strain. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin says he's optimistic linebacker T.J. Watt can play Sunday after missing Week 3. Ron Rivera says receiver Kelvin Benjamin didn't suffer any structural damage in their game, and he does have some swelling, so staff will monitor it. Detroit Lions place guard Joe Dahl on injury reserve with a leg injury, and of course the Chicago Bears.
Quentin Depps broke his arm, and then of course we got Kyle Long back against the Steelers, and then Josh Hitton goes down. So I don't even know. Just no one can stay healthy.
So are we having an injury epidemic in the NFL, in your opinion?
I don't know, are we? I don't know. Maybe
It's just another one of those where we just gotta do more
research.
and
It's
more
hard.
games.
It's hard to determine it. What, 3 weeks into the season? So
Yeah, well, I know we keep teasing this one every week, but one of these days,
when we get more information, when we get more statistics, we will cover it.
yes,
For
we
real.
will get there at some point.
This, if you remember from last week, this is the Disappearing Act. Da-da-da. But, I hate to just keep picking on quarterbacks, but the Disappearing Act this week is in fact going to be Joe Flacco. If you didn't see, actually, if you don't know what the final score of that Jags-Ravens game was,
44-7.
44-7. So,
It's obviously that we're gonna come talk about him after that big old blowout.
but Flacco was almost historically bad.
And Bortles was almost historically good.
Yeah, I know, right? But Joe Flacco, a former Super Bowl winning quarterback, was 8 for 18 for 28 yards. That's 1.6 yards per throw, by the way, with 2 interceptions. And that got him with a total of a 12 QBR. But here's the kicker. Here's the reason why I decided, you know what, Flacco's definitely got to be my Disappearing Act this week, is at the end of the game, when the game was way over, Ryan Mallett came in to the game, just to make sure Joe Flacco didn't get hurt. And he came out 6 for 9 with 36 yards, so 8 more yards on 9 less attempts, and got a touchdown. So
Go Ryan Mallett. Maybe he's one of these guys that gets tried for a starting quarterback job next season.
And I hate to keep talking about quarterbacks, but the honorable mention this week has got to be Cam Newton, who threw 3 interceptions against a terrible Saints defense. So
He has started the season off very rusty.
very risky. And yeah, here we go.
So now it's time to talk our Week 4 matchups in the NFL. We'll start off with lighting the night up, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers.
Thursday night football, and this is why we're recording this podcast early, because not only is this the Bears game of the week, but this is the first really good Thursday night football game of the week, and
Of the year,
excuse me. The only Thursday night football game of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Yankees and Red Sox of the NFL, and we'll go to the state comparison. The Cavaliers Warriors of the NFL, 100-year rivalry at this point, and I think it's the biggest one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah. Do you think the Bears are going to win?
Absolutely. I will never say anything positive about the Packers as long as I shall live.
And interesting note here, whoever wins this game will lead the series.
So the Bears are going to lead the series after Thursday. It's good to know.
They will be 94-93-6. Whichever team wins, it will be 94-93-6 in their favor.
6 ties in 100 years, which is kind of funny to me.
Yeah. I was actually looking up random tie stats the other day, but that's not here nor there.
Okay, so my main concern going into this game is the fact that they're going to stack the box. The Packers are going to stack the box because Glennon won't throw the ball more than 3 yards. It can be 3rd and 15. They'll still dump it off to Tarek Cohen 6 yards down the field. And I love Tarek Cohen, but he can't make plays like that every time he touches the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He does lead the NFL running backs with 20 catches, though.
I know he's the main receiver right now.
Yeah. And he aims for 4th consecutive game with 4+ catches.
How many yards per reception is he averaging?
Looks like 6.3.
Yeah, 6.3 yards per reception is not very good. So it just shows that we refuse to use our receivers, really.
And neither team has an interception on their defense this year. Neither team. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if this streak breaks this week.
I hope it breaks in the correct way and we pick off Rodgers. And real quick, this is Trubisky. After this week, this is Trubisky watch. I was talking to a fellow Bears fan who may or may not be in this school about it, and he said, well, because it's a Thursday night game, we're going to have a week and a half till our next game, and who knows, if Glennon really does bad enough, maybe this is the next week, because he'll have a week and a half to learn the playbook. Maybe Trubisky, it'll finally be his time.
It's now or the bye week.
Yeah.
Of course, you may have more time now than you do come to bye week.
To get them ready, yeah.
Yeah. Because you have a Thursday night football game.
Mm-hmm.
So normally we would talk the Chiefs game next, but the Chiefs game is Monday Night Football this week. So we'll just go ahead and go straight to our game of the week this week. The Oakland Raiders at the Denver Broncos, both of these AFC West teams who are at 2-1 right now. Both lost last week.
Mm-hmm.
This is my division. I'm not excited for this game. But
okay, so I know you're going to say, I'm not scared of either team, but if you were, which team would you be?
Raiders.
More scared of the Raiders.
Yeah.
I like that. I think I've stated many times, shout out to my uncle, that I like this Raiders team a lot. Every time I mention, that's another thing that's going to happen. Every time I mention the Raiders, I got to shout out my uncle. And yeah.
I mean, if you got these Broncos losing to Buffalo.
Did you see about that penalty against Von Miller? Of course, Von Miller pulled the classic, third grade, stick your hand out and then pull your hair back, and he got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for that, which I know a couple Broncos fans who were not happy about that.
He has 16 sacks in the past 16 games versus his division. So
pretty good rate.
Yeah, that is. That's a really good rate.
I
Vance Joseph's first game against the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Anyway, you think? Sorry.
I think Carr is going to bounce back this game. I really do. Even against that Broncos defense, I just don't see... I at least see him being better than last week. Him and Amari Cooper.
I completely agree. Mm-hmm. And I think Amari Cooper... He's... I have Amari Cooper on the fantasy team, and week 1 he did really good. Weeks 2 and 3, he's a little bit on the decline right now, so he needs to really step it up. Because I don't think Crabtree is the best wide receiver on that team. I genuinely do believe that it is Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper.
But right now, Crabtree...
just performing better.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like this. I picked this as the game of the week because not only is it two pretty good teams going against each other, but it's a division matchup, and you can't go wrong with a division matchup, can you?
Yeah, and this week we'll actually be able to watch the game of the week live.
Hey, look at that!
It's a national game on CBS at 3:25. So I'll be able to take notes on that one and actually see. Hey, I can actually give a report.
It's kind of funny how we have to mention that we're actually able to watch the game of the week this year.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of funny.
The last 2 we haven't been able to, I don't think.
Yeah.
So Sunday Night Football this weekend, the Colts and the Seahawks.
This is where the Seahawks come back.
There were rumors that they were going to flex this game, but they actually can't right now.
Too early.
They're limited.
Yeah.
And the early weeks are limited, but yeah.
I don't see anything but the Seahawks just wrecking.
Here's the weird thing. I guess Chuck Pagano has won a game against the Seahawks now.
Really?
I can't remember. I don't remember when that was now that I think about it, but... Oh, yeah.
Stay right there.
You're pointing it. Yeah, I can see it now. Out you. Show it 10-6, 2013.
So that would have been... Would that have been the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl?
That might have been. That's interesting.
There you go.
It's interesting when both of us are saying that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I like Brissett a lot, and he's just not ready. Yeah. I like him. I think he's going to be a fine cornerback in this league, but he's not ready. Now, if it was Andrew Luck going up against the Seahawks, this is more of a conversation. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to like Frank Gore.
I like Frank Gore.
In the absence of Andrew Luck, Frank Gore has really stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
For a veteran player in the NFL whose last couple of jobs just haven't been very eye-popping, but Frank Gore could start eye-popping this year. Maybe a comeback player of the year.
You never know. I like...
There really isn't that much interesting on this game. I mean, in reality.
I know, because we're just thinking in our heads that this game is almost over before it started.
Hey, maybe now that we're kind of almost trashing this game.
Trap game.
Maybe it'll just end up doing a really good game.
Yeah. Also, I just see the name on my list. Jimmy Graham got off my disappearing act honorable mentions because he had 70 yards, and at that point, with him having four catches for 9 yards going into that week was good, which is good enough to just get him off the list. I kind of felt bad, so I just took him off.
He has had only one meeting against the Colts in his entire career, October 23rd, 2012, where he had 2 touchdowns. And a quick question about Jimmy Graham: can he get back on the disappearing list?
I mean, if he does, well, you were talking about it earlier. Didn't Kelsey have 1 reception for 1 yard?
Yeah.
If he has another game, if he has a game like that, absolutely. In fact, if he does that, he'll probably be in the disappearing act.
And speaking of the Washington Redskins, Kansas City Chiefs, Monday Night Football. And I want to clear something up about Kelsey. And somebody, a good friend of mine who is also in this building, made me realize this about the Chiefs' game plan. It was to be on the offensive line to get all those blocks. It was not to catch. And the announcers, they keep pointing it out that Kelsey hasn't caught a reception yet this game. Well, that probably was not the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
This Washington Redskins team, I'm liking it now. People were saying that's the Chargers game. The Chargers are that good and all that. Philip Rivers threw 3 interceptions, but anyway.
This is your test, in my opinion.
The Washington Redskins, yeah. The Chargers, I thought we were going to win. I mean, I'm not going to. I wasn't very much liking the people who were saying that this could be a trap, who said that the LA Chargers were going to be a trap. But this game, this could be the game that we knocked down to 31. And I mean, here's the thing. Even if we knock down to 31, it's not a bad thing.
You got to lose sometime.
Yeah, you got to lose sometime. No team's going to go 16-0.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
So I think, yeah, people will probably win, and if we lose, people will trash on the Chiefs, but we got to lose sometime.
Here's your matchup in that game. Tyreek Hill versus Josh Norman.
Oh, man.
That's going to be one heck of a matchup. That's something we can update on next week. We'll see how that did.
And, of course, we have Justin Houston and Marcus Peters on that Chiefs defense. We have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Albert Wilson, who actually had a pretty good game last week. Probably one of the better games that he's had in the last couple of years for the Chiefs, which I was really impressed about. Kareem Hunt, of course, he keeps going. He is the second most by player in first 3. Okay, He has 538 scrimmage yards. This is both rushing and receiving yards in first 3 career games. This is the second most by a player in first 3 career games in NFL history. The only other one is Billy Sims.
Really? Billy Sims Barbecue here in Kansas. Sponsor us, Billy Sims.
Yeah, well, we can just talk about Billy Sims every week. We can compare Billy Sims to Kareem Hunt and force Billy Sims Barbecue.
Our Billy Sims Player of the Week. There you go. I just pitched it.
Yeah.
And that's a Monday night game, right?
Yes, that's Monday night. That's
2 good Monday night games in a row.
Yeah, where are we? Bizarro world.
This is insane.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. Of course, Cowboys and Cardinals were actually a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah, it was.
And the Cowboys, they're Cowboys. They recovered just beautifully after losing to the Broncos last week.
And then you have Kirk Cousins and Chris Thompson over on the Redskins side. Chris Thompson, he's been on the fantasy waiver wires. He's been harping to pick up,
and he's getting a lot of receiving yards.
And I think I may pick him up this week. I may try to at least.
There you go.
Last week I was a little bit more pessimistic about picking up Chris Thompson, but
against your own team?
No, against the Raiders last week.
But
then I started seeing some of those rushes during the part of the game I did watch. But that's enough, and I could see him. And of course, tight end Vernon Davis is now playing for the Redskins because Jordan Reed is out.
And Jordan Reed, I think he'll be back next week.
Yeah, I agree. We do have one more London game this week.
I think we made our opinions on London very clear last week, and just hopefully we just stop with the London games eventually.
Saints Dolphins. I apologize. That is the London game we're looking at this week, and so now it is time to hold on a second. Jaguars at Jets. I just gotta point that game out. That's a noon game. Carolina, New England, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Tennessee, Houston.
So Carolina plays New England?
Yeah.
I wish I'd seen that matchup 2 years ago.
Yeah, and we'll see how Cam does because he's on the honorable mention list for a disappearing act.
For a reason. Yeah.
Could he move up in that Patriots game? Mm-hmm. Patriots defense has kind of been doing terrible this season, so this is a test for him.
And you may remember real quick. So we're about to go into our 5 things. You may remember real quick. we talked about our fifth thing was Carson Palmer. We see if he got 131 yards to pass. What was it, 45,000?
Yes.
He got it in the first half, so that was out the window pretty quick.
And did a good job there.
Yep. And now we move on to our 5 things. Would you like to start off today?
Sure. I was listening to Kevin Harlan on the commentary of the Chiefs game. I forgot how good of a commentator he really is. Getting all these top teams the last little while. Kevin Harlan, pretty darn good commentator. And he had a lot of excitement in that game too. I really loved it.
Well, my next thing is, I gotta mention his name at least once every week, Tom Brady. Tom Brady led yet another drive against Houston. I wish I had the stat on me for game-winning drives that in his career, but I don't, and I just want to appreciate the greatness of Tom Brady while we still have it.
Yeah, we'll get that in a couple weeks. He says he's not retiring after this season. I will.
He won't.
Yeah.
I could see him playing until he's 45.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
We'll see how good he is when he's 45. That'll be the question.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one, Carson Wentz offered to pay Jake Elliott his game check if he made that longest career field goal in Lincoln Financial Field history.
$32,000.
$32,000, I believe, is the check on. Hold on a second. The stat is actually, $32,000, and that's not too shabby for Elliott's $465,000 deal for the whole year.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. I hope Wentz does pay Elliott that money.
And actually, on my second 5 things, I'm going to call a bit of an audible. I thought this was interesting. Per Bleacher Report on my phone, it says some Panthers officials feel Cam Newton is breaking it down physically. So we'll see where this leads, see what the discussion comes out of it, and I just thought it was interesting tidbit to throw in here, and see keep an eye on Cam Newton the rest of the year.
Isn't Derek Anderson the backup from Carolina?
Yes, Derek Anderson's the backup for what? Feels like 10 years at this point.
He could be a Tyrod Taylor type candidate though.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's move into the very last closer, our closer that we do together. Bad takes of the week / the year. Okay, so I'm going to start off here. I have to apologize to Jamal Charles. There was a play in that Denver-Buffalo game that I just happened to be watching, and he ran in for a touchdown. It was about 10 yards or so. I kind of knew at that point, okay, maybe I can't discard him anymore.
Can't just because you went in that one time.
Yeah, I did.
When you talked about him, I think it was week 1.
Week 1.
Yeah. And well, I would. Oh, sorry.
I was thinking, okay, when is Nathan going to give me crap about this play when he sees it on Red Zone? Because I was just waiting for him to see that play.
Red Zone?
Yeah, sponsor us, please. I was just waiting to see that play, for you to see that play and just tell me, what about that hot take again?
And I have a hot take for the both of us. If you haven't noticed, we have not covered many Thursday night and Monday night football games, and well, the best game of last week was Rams and 49ers, 41-39, and it was a Thursday night football game.
And we kind of discarded that one too.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it. So yeah, it's just maybe we should be quiet about Thursday and Monday night football because it seems to work.
Well, ironically, we're both both of our teams are Thursday night, Monday night this week.
Exactly.
So we are both covering that.
That'll do it for another episode of All for the Lombardi, Week 4. And, God bless America, God bless football.
And God bless you.
Go Bears.